I woke up, and my shadow was missing. The first thing I noticed that morning was my shadow, it wasn't there. I waved my hand in the sunlight, and nothing moved on the floor. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light, but the more I moved, the more I realized something was wrong. My skin prickled, and a cold sweat ran down my back. Let me take you back to how it all began. My name is Iferino. I live in Apejola, a small village surrounded by thick forest. People in my family had always warned me about Ijirikoja, the curse that doesn't knock before it enters your life. It creeps in, silent and sure. But I never believed in such things. It started 2 nights before my shadow disappeared. My friend, Demilade, came running to my house late at night. His face was pale, and his breath smelled of palm wine. Iferino, he said, his voice shaky, there's something in the forest. I saw it. I laughed it off. Demilade, you've had too much to drink. Go home. But he grabbed my arm tightly. No, I swear. It looked like an old woman, but her eyes were burning red. She was chanting something. I think she saw me. His fear made me uneasy, but I still didn't believe him. The next day, Demilade didn't show up at the farm. When I went to check on him, his mother told me he had been talking to himself all night. He kept muttering, I didn't mean to take it. It wasn't my fault. That was strange enough, but things got worse that night. I was walking back from the river when I heard a faint humming. It sounded like an old woman singing, but it was coming from the trees. The air felt heavy, and my chest tightened. I stopped and called out, Taniyen. Who's there? The humming stopped. The silence that followed was so loud it felt like the world had stopped breathing. Then, just as I was about to turn around, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I spun around, but no one was there. When I got home, I locked the door and sat in the corner of my room, shaking. That night, I had the most vivid dream. An old woman with deep wrinkles and red eyes stood over me. She held a calabash in her hands and whispered, Ihti Waesayari. The curse has entered your life. When I woke up, my shadow was gone. The elders were the first people I went to for help. Baba Esebi, the oldest man in the village, shook his head when he heard my story. Demilade must have taken something from the sacred grove. The spirit has marked all who are close to him. That is Ijirikoja, it doesn't just punish the guilty, it spreads to the innocent. What can I do? I asked, my voice trembling. There is a way, Baba Esebi said, but it requires great sacrifice. You must return what was stolen, even if you didn't take it. Then, you must go to the river at midnight and call on the Orisha to cleanse you. I didn't know what Demilade had taken, but I went to his house and searched his room. Hidden under his mat was a small bead bracelet. It looked old, like something from the shrine. I felt a chill as I touched it. That night, I went to the forest with the bracelet. The air was thick, and the trees seemed to whisper as I walked. I placed the bracelet on the ground and stepped back. Then, I went to the river. I knelt by the water and called out, Ocean, Orisha of the river, hear me. I did not take what was yours, but I beg for your mercy. The river was still for a moment, and then the water began to ripple. A soft voice filled the air. Your heart is heavy with fear, but it is pure. The curse will be lifted. When I stood up, I felt lighter. The next morning, my shadow was back. Demilade, however, was never the same. He left the village soon after, muttering to himself about red eyes and curses. Now, I listen to the elders. Ijirikoja is real, and it doesn't care if you believe in it or not.